Well, we're joined now a very busy young fella named Tory Pitner, former Youngstown fan who's about to start his college career at the University of Denver. We're excited to talk about a couple of things here with Tory. It's been a busy 2 years for Tory. You're from Greenwich, Connecticut. You're an East Coast guy, but it appears to me before you ended up in Youngstown, you spent some time in the West Coast with the minor programs there with LA Junior Kings, the San Jose
Yep.
Junior Sharks, and then prep school. So let's talk
Yep.
about your path to Youngstown first, and then we'll talk about the rest of the time here.
Yeah.
It looks like you're in a dorm room there at the University
Yeah.
of Denver. So we'll talk
Yeah.
about that here in a bit. But let's talk about your path to Youngstown. How did you end up playing for the Phantoms, and how was that playing in the USHL a place for you to develop as a young player?
Yeah, for sure. So first started out, like you said, I was born in Greenwich, Connecticut, and then I moved to Northern California when I was pretty young, and played pretty much there and the LA Junior Kings growing up before COVID hit. So I was in that kind of system in the West Coast. Really great spot out there with great coaches, Brett Beebe, Derek Geisler, like a bunch of great coaches I had out there. And then COVID hit, and I made the decision to go and play prep school at South Kent, which is a school in South Kent, Connecticut. And basically that decision was a combination of being able to be on the ice every day, guaranteed ice, like being able to have my academics and my athletics all in one place on the hillside there. So I went to South Kent, played for Jamie Russell there. Really loved my experience. I thought it was great for me. That was the first time I was able to get on the ice every day, and I think it was big for me, both in my development and maturity, being able to figure out a schedule that works for me, because the schedule we had at South Kent was pretty similar to the one we had in Youngstown, and now the one I have here at DU. So it was a great stepping stone for me into junior hockey. And then that year while I was at South Kent, I was drafted into the WHL with the Edmonton Oil Kings, and then I was also drafted in the USHL after a year was done with Youngstown, and kind of made the decision shortly after the draft there to head to Youngstown for a majority of reasons. I think being able to play U.S. college hockey was something that was always a dream of mine. So in talking to both organizations and both teams, I thought that, the USHL and college in general was just the route for me to go. Looking at myself as a player, I feel like I'm going to need more time to develop. And I think the USHL is obviously an unbelievable league for development. Being able to go in there and play against guys that are 3-4 years older than you when you're 16 is something that I really looked at, and I embraced that challenge, and I loved that opportunity. I thought that the travel for us in Youngstown was a bit different than everyone else, but I thought that was good for me to learn how to navigate the roads. And going through junior hockey and now into college hockey, like there's always going to be travel, and even as you get to the NHL level, there's going to be a lot of travel. Granted, they travel a little differently, but I thought we did a pretty good job in Youngstown with that. So just ultimately the decision came down to I wanted to play college hockey, and I wanted to play in the USHL because I thought that was the best development league for me to get to college hockey. And so I was drafted by Youngstown after my U15 year, and then decided to head back to South Kent for the start of my what would have been my U16 year. But I ended up going and played U18 for the first start of the year, just so I wanted to go and I wanted to be over ready to go to Youngstown. And so I thought that going back to South Kent, it was still a great situation for me. So went back, and then went and played my affiliate games with Youngstown. And through my affiliate games, talking with Coach Ward and Coach Contoys and Coach Gawkin and the whole staff they really have there. And based on how I felt in the games, I felt a lot more ready than I thought I was going to. So it didn't really feel like a jump to me up to the USHL. It felt more like a transition. And that was something that, at the beginning of the year, I didn't want to make the jump prematurely. But after going and playing those games, I really found that it was a league that I could compete in, and one that would be best for my development moving into college. So at Christmas, I finished my semester of school and decided to transition to Youngstown, and it was the best decision I could have made, honestly. Ended up finishing the year with them. I think I played around 40 something games with them at the end of the year. And it was great being able to be in the locker room with guys like Chase Patel is another USHL guy that just got drafted. And Chase was kind of a role model for me. I still talk to him to this day. But he was someone that really showed me the ropes, showed me the league, and and Youngstown in general. Andy Contois did a great job of teaching me how to defend at that next level, which I feel like is something that for me moving on now, looking back in my career, is something I'm super grateful for, even though it was only a year and a half ago. It's something that I feel like is now a staple in my game that before coming to junior hockey, you know, you never would have known certain nuances about defending that you do now. And Andy's a great coach, and you know, he's worked a lot with me. I've worked a lot with him about certain things that I need to develop, and will continue to develop. We still talk pretty regularly too. So, but just being able to go up and play those games and be in a locker room with those guys like Shane LaChance, being our captain, there isn't enough to be said about Shane LaChance. Like, he's probably one of the best captains I have and will ever have had. Like, seeing him as a leader and being around him and seeing his ability to connect with every guy in the room is something that I really tried to take from and emulate. So that was really great for me. And ultimately being able to play with the group of guys we had my first year in Youngstown was great. Like, in practice every day was the best thing for me, because you have Will Whitelaw, who's going a million miles an hour on you on a gap drill that you're stuck in mud. So being able to learn those things and play against those guys, like, I think my first year there, we had 5 NHL draft picks. I roomed with Jacob Fowler, so I got to see excellence right down the hall. So that was really something that for me was a great experience and kind of threw me into the fire a bit with junior hockey and was the best thing for me. And I loved every second of it. And, you know, those guys after winning the Clark Cup with them, I mean, can't be understated how much of a bond everyone has there. We were together. You know, everyone could have gone home after, but we all decided we wanted to stay together and just hang out, because we knew we were going to miss each other as a group. And, you know, our group chat's still active. Like, we still talk pretty regularly. I talk with a few of those guys that I got pretty close with pretty often. And, you know, taking me in as a 16-year-old and really showing me the ropes led me to being able to jump into my next year, my 17-year-old year, my draft year, and have an idea of how it's going to look. Because, you know, I saw Stratty and Whitey and Brandon Svoboda, Perkins, Fowler. I saw them all doing NHL interviews last year. I saw how that whole process went. So it kind of eased my nerves going into my next year, because I'd seen it, I'd known what it looks like. And being in Youngstown, they do a great job bringing in high caliber players to have that experience. And so me and Luke Osborne kind of went along with that process together this year. And I thought it was great for me and Ozzy to push each other all year, being able to play games where we had another good team. We had another great group of players, great group of guys. Obviously it wasn't the end result we wanted. We ran into a great Dubuque team, and we just weren't able to get it done. But ultimately I thought that this year was a great learning experience for me too. And having to, you know, take on a bigger role with the Phantoms was something that I really embraced and loved that challenge of, and loved the opportunity to do. You know, I'm super grateful to the coaching staff and Coach Contois for giving me that increased opportunity. Being able to wear a letter for them was something that I was really proud of. As they looked on me as a leader in the locker room to kind of show the other guys the way. So I thought that was really, really great for me, and the opportunities I had this year as well. Like, being able to captain the Hlinka-Gretzky team was something that was a dream of mine. Whenever I found out about the tournament, I wanted to go, but I didn't just want to go. I wanted to be a leader on the team and make an impact. And, you know, we were able to do that, won our first medal since like 2016, I think it was, with the United States. So hopefully the team this year can follow that up and bring home a gold. And then continuing into the season, playing for USA again at the World Junior A, didn't get the result we wanted, but that was another great experience to be around the top guys in the USHL and play with other guys that have been drafted before and talk with other guys, talk with the coaching staff. You know, they brought some of the best coaches from the USHL along. So be able to pick their brain every day. We have guys from that coaching staff, like Mike Leone's now coaching in the AHL. And I got to be on the ice with Leo every day for 2 weeks, which was something that I thought was great for me. Being able to be around those guys too, who are now going to step into college and be great college players before going on to having great pro careers. So those opportunities coming back in my second year was something that was really great for me. And, you know, I was super fortunate to have that. And then getting the call to come into Denver this year, and now being able to take all that experience and transition it into college. And, you know, in our first gates here, I feel pretty confident. So it's something that definitely prepared me, and I'm really grateful for. So a bit of a long-winded answer, but yeah.
That's awesome. I do have a couple questions for you though, and
For sure.
a couple of observations that everybody who's involved with hockey over the years talks about a small world. You mentioned Jamie Russell there.
Yeah.
Of course, Jamie Russell is a former coach at Michigan Tech and
Yeah, he is.
and Chase Patilla
Yeah.
is from the. I mean, I don't know how many Patillas have played at Northern Michigan and Michigan Tech over the years. There's a bunch of them.
So many. And Adam,
Yeah,
Adam is on our team again this year. He's his
yeah,
cousin. He
yeah,
was in
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but what a whirlwind for you, and I know the Youngstown organization is extremely proud of you, a two-time all-academic kid too, and I know Tori, as you were making one of the things you sort of left out there was maybe the recruiting process and
Oh
things
yeah.
you were juggling there and how that went along for you. We'll get to Denver and how you ended up deciding to go play for the Pioneers here in a sec. But I want to talk about this past year, going back to the Clark Cup championship season as during your -1 draft year, you end up
Yeah.
playing for Youngstown, and what a great time to jump on board with them and contributing to a Clark Cup championship, the first one in the organization, and that's pretty cool. But then you touched on the Hlinka-Gretzky invite and the World Junior A Challenge invite, and then you go to you get to go to the NHL draft, get selected by the Colorado Avalanche, and then you get an invite to the USA Hockey World Junior Summer showcase, and you're, oh, by the way, started summer school at DU with
Yeah.
workouts and getting to know your teammates, and how are you able to juggle everything and keep a clear head with all this stuff, Tori, for an 18-year-old kid? That sounds like a lot of things to consider.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's definitely a lot. But like I said to you before we hopped on the call, I'd rather be busy than bored. So for me, I always want to push myself. So instead of just sitting in bed and watching YouTube or something, that'll be the time I'll do my homework from my summer school courses and everything like that. And being here, I love the schedule because we're up early, we're working out early, and then we go to class, and then we get to come back, we get to skate with all the pro guys out here. And then you come back and you do homework and you get to do it all again the next day. So you're really fully immersed in the whole culture. And I'd say really just how I'm handling is the preparation I had before from South Kent, getting to see what that model would look like, having school and hockey in the same place. And then being in Youngstown and traveling as much as we did. Some of our bus trips, like when we went to Fargo for the Clark Cup, like that was right in the middle of final season too, and we're busing 23 hours out to Fargo to play the Force. And you learn to prioritize different things. You learn how to manage your schedule pretty well. It does suck, you can't call your buddies as much, you can't text, Instagram, none of that stuff really comes into play too much anymore, just because you're so busy. But I really embrace it, and I think that it's something, if I wasn't busy, I'd probably be a little bit more upset, if that makes sense. Like I'd rather have this schedule where I'm constantly going, and I think it's pushing me. It's a bit of overspeed training here in the summer, just with how much we're actually doing, how much of a course load, how much of lifts we have, skating with the pro guys too. Like being out here at DU, we have a great setup where a lot of the pro guys come back and skate. So, and being drafted to Colorado is great because, you see Colorado guys coming into the locker room, you get to meet them, you get to meet the guys in the NHL club, and you get to skate with some of them sometimes. And that's really great for me in my development going into my freshman year here, and ultimately to making the Avs. But like you said, it's been a long summer, but it's one that I'm super grateful for, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
So before we talk to the draft, I do want to talk about your decision to go to Denver and play
Yeah.
for the Pioneers and the commitment process. How did you decide that going to Denver was the best place for your development as a player and as a student?
Yeah. So right before the USHL Fall Classic, actually, started talking to a bunch of teams. I was previously committed, but decided to decommit for reasons, just coaching change reasons, everything like that. So decided to decommit, and the fit really wasn't there anymore. So decommit, and then open up my recruiting process before the USHL Fall Classic, and go to the Fall Classic, and honestly don't really focus on it too much. Just try and play my best hockey for my team, because that was my goal. That's what I'm there for. I can't be a distraction. So but after the Fall Classic, we kind of had a little bit of time off, and I talked to a couple schools, had a couple Zoom calls, and right when I talked to DC and the Pioneers, like I knew that it was probably the place I was going to end up. Being a West Coast kid growing up there, They were the furthest west team before ASU became a college hockey program. So growing up, you go to tournaments in Colorado, you always want to go to the DU games. You grow up like I watched Will Butcher play, and Will Butcher's in the locker room now. Like that's so cool for me. And hearing those guys talk and what they see is the plan for me. What I see is the plan for myself, and both of those kind of aligning. It really just made perfect sense. And obviously they have an unbelievable track record of developing NHL defensemen here at Denver. Like if you walk through our locker rooms, you look at the walls, NHL players on the walls, like you look at them and you go, they're in the same shoes I am. They were doing the same workouts. They were doing the same skate. They were doing the same schedule. And that really gives you confidence to kind of keep working hard, because you know that someone's been through your path before. And if you keep working and you keep staying to your path and not keep your head down, but if you just put your head down and work hard, then you'll be able to achieve what you want to achieve. And so, after talking to them and hearing those things from the coaching staff here, like Ferg does a great job with the D, Dallas Ferguson, Tass McMillan, great job recruiting, great job with the forwards, like all the staff here. I could list them all, but it really doesn't do justice how much of a fit it really felt like talking to them on the phone. And so once I really had that conversation, I felt that it was the best thing for me, and kind of a no-brainer decision when you pull in where I grew up, how much success they had. And so made that decision shortly thereafter. And I've been thrilled with it ever since. Kept in touch with them pretty much all year. Had a great open line of communication, development wise and both personal wise, just checking in, seeing how I'm doing as a person off the ice, how I'm handling that schedule that we have in Youngstown, just being that travel. And so they were great with me. And now that I'm here, I couldn't be happier. All the guys here on the team are great guys, and I'm really excited to be here and can't wait to get started.
You're going to summer school right now. You're a two-time USHL all-academic pick in your 2 seasons with Youngstown. Tori, have you thought about what you're going to take for classes and what are you going to major in?
Yeah, we just actually had that conversation with our academic advisor last week. So I'm kind of torn right now, but I'm leaning towards psychology. So what I'm going to do is my first quarter, I'll take intro to psych and intro to business and intro to a bunch of those courses, because no matter what, they're all going to count for Common Core courses. So I kind of get to feel it out and see which one I'm going to take. But right now I'm probably leaning towards majoring in psychology. I'll make that decision. We'll all declare like officially after our freshman year. So I have the year to figure it out, but I'm really excited. I have a good course load, a lot of good challenging courses, a lot of fun courses too, interesting ones. So it'll make it easy when you're interested in the subject to be able to go and learn and go to class. And, it's nice to be in an actual classroom again after 2 years of online school with the Phantoms. It's something that you don't really think about, but it definitely helps. And it's nice for me as a kid that always wants to learn. I think that's my mentality on and off the ice. It's just always wanting to learn, always wanting to get better. So I'm really excited for it. I think that summer school so far has gone well. Knock on wood. Grades are coming out pretty soon, but I feel pretty confident about it. So I'm just looking forward to it, and I think it'll be a great experience off the ice in the classroom and both on the ice. So
let's wrap it up with your draft day experience in Vegas. Tori, of course, you've alluded to it already. You were picked in the 6th round by the Avalanche, and they're nearby there. That's pretty cool. What were your thoughts? And tell us about the excitement that you experienced there in Vegas a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it was a long day. I'll give you that one. Got there with my family. We had a test on Thursday, so I took my test and then I flew out Thursday night into Vegas, and the draft obviously started Friday. And going into it, kind of have an idea of a few teams that you thought could pick you, but you don't really know where with how the draft's going to shape out. You hear some things, but they don't really hold true, just because everything is crazy. Like you saw the draft, like it went nuts after that 3rd pick. Pretty much everything kind of changed. So kind of just going in there, no expectations, just be grateful for the opportunity you have to be there and being able to be there with my family and my friends and some coaches. Just really people I hold close to my heart. Was something that was super cool for me. Busy week, just with everything we had, like dinners, breakfasts, meetings, everything like that with teams or with whoever, with your advisor, with your family. But it was ultimately a good time, get to throw on a suit, get to go to the draft. The Sphere was obviously unbelievable. Don't think I've ever seen anything like that in my life. I was probably cranking my neck to see who the next pick was at the top of the board there. But it was a pretty cool experience, being able to sit around all those great prospects. And then, I talked to Colorado quite a bit throughout the year, stayed in contact with them. And so I felt that they were one of the teams that I could have gone to. And so every time they were picking, I was on the edge of my seat a bit. And then finally to hear your name called after a long day, it was something that, a lot of relief and just joy, gratitude. It was an unbelievable feeling, really grateful. Having the Youngstown guys there. I wasn't able to go and say hi just because of how busy it was, which I was frustrated about. But it was good to see people that you hadn't seen in a little bit, and really share that experience with everyone that helped get you there. Because that's what it's all about. I wouldn't be here without all the people in my corner, all the people that have coached me going up, my mom, like everything. They've all been there for me in the past, and so I wouldn't be there without them. And being able to be there and celebrate that and going to the Avalanche is something that is super special, for me, especially being here in Denver. Growing up, they have an unbelievable decor right now, and so that going into it, they have a high expectation, and then going to dev camp and meeting the staff, you understand what that high expectation is, and you just go and you work your hardest and you try and improve your game and adapt it to whatever they need. So one day you'll be able to play at the NHL level. And being here at DU, I said it before, but having them right down the road and having some of their guys come back and skate and lift here and train here is something that's super cool for me to get to see it. And then obviously DU had Sean Barons last year, who's going to the Avs now. So getting to hang out with all the DU guys that were at dev camp, at Avs dev camp was great for me. Especially all the defensemen. And it was really a perfect situation because even though we had summer school, we were still able to go, and we wouldn't have been able to go to dev camp if it wasn't in Colorado. So it was something that was awesome for me. And I couldn't be more happy. I'm really grateful for the organization for taking a chance on me. And, now it's my opportunity, and my pretty much all I have to do right now is go and prove them right, prove to them that they got a steal, and just make sure that, they made the right decision and go out there and work as hard as I can. And, happy that feel like they like me as a prospect. And so really enjoyed to be in an organization like that. Obviously they have a great track record for success, and hope to get out to a few games this year and watch and cheer them on.
All right, Tori, thanks very much for joining us
Awesome.
on your busy schedule. Looking forward to seeing your career progress. You still got a lot of stuff to do this summer with the World Junior Showcase in Plymouth. I was thinking about Zeev Bouillon being there, William Whitelaw, Jake Fisher, all guys that you.
All guys I know, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then the rest of the way with the Pioneers this winter with your schedule and then after that. So best of luck, and thanks a lot for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your summer. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Take care.
All right. Bye.